Okay, guys, this is Kinkuri here. Today, I'm going to show you the difference between a blue weapon and red weapon, and I'm going to try my best to convince to you why you should start building your red weapon. Um, you should start building your red weapon if you have not done so. It will help you in many ways. Now, before I start, I think you should know that red weapon. The benefits of red weapon is that when you attack magic monsters, you will get bonus damage, and that's from the piercing attribute. It's different from your blue weapon, where it's more like a PvP, where it adds bonus damage to players. So I'm going to show you a clip um, to let you have a feel of the difference between red weapon and blue weapon. Okay, so you can see me. I'm in forest, one of the forest dungeon, and yeah. So I'm going to pause right here to show you the blue and red weapon that I have at this moment when I was shooting this video. So as you can see, my blue weapon is maxed out already. It's just I'm just trying to make it UR, but that will take some time. But I managed to limit break, a full limit break and full enhance on my SR blue weapon, and this give me 35% bonus damage to players, but not to monsters. And then this is my total physical attack. I think you can see as my attack damage. Okay, so it's 49075, and this is my red weapon. It's only plus 30. I haven't got a chance to let me break it yet. And the enhancement is not even half of, not even, almost half, but not half of the maximum enhance, just plus 13, which is quite easily achievable. I didn't use any blast or whatsoever. I just normal enhance until I reach basically, a normal enhance until I reach plus 13. And then what I spend a lot of time on and my resources on is really to increase the attribute of my red weapon, which is very important. So the attribute for piercing, the piercing attribute for red weapon starts at 100%. 100%. Now, 100% bonus damage to magic monsters is actually two times more damage. So uh, let's say I have my attack damage now is 15525, and I didn't up my attribute is level 1, so it's 100%. Uh, my damage output will be 15525 times 2, just purely because of the attribute at 100%. So every time you increase your attribute by one level, the percentage increase by 25%, which is a lot. You think about it. So once you max out, you will have you keep adding 25% onto the previous percentage. You will eventually reach 325%, which is not 3 times more. It's 325% bonus damage on top of your base damage output. So in total, we are talking about 4.25 times more, to be exact. So don't be deceived by this small value over here, because your final damage output is actually this multiplied by 4.25. Okay, so you can see you can compare the two, yeah, right here. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Just look at the damage output when I switch weapon from blue. I started with blue, and then after I move on to red, then you can see those damage that I land critical hit in, and the normal attacks that has a feel of which one is actually better. By the way, on paper, my blue weapon definitely looks better than my uh, red weapon if you don't look at the attribute. All right, if you don't look at the attribute, my blue is definitely better than my red. But if you include the attribute, that's where the difference comes. So let's take a look. Continue looking at this clip. Going to fast forward a little bit. Okay, of course, crystals affect your damage output, but never mind. Let's forget about crystals. It doesn't affect that much. So I'm in one of the forest dungeon, and this is one of the boss monsters. It's a magical boss monsters. So I started with my blue weapon, and you can see it's glowing. There's a golden glow around it. So here we go. Get a sense of the number, that the damage output that jumps the number. 10,000 to 70,000. That's the highest. Right, I did 5 rounds of this. Okay, so as you can see, the highest that I saw was one of the first few, and it's only one or twice only the 70k. That was when I crit. And then the normal attack can go as low as 10. So it depends on how your hero and what weapon he's using. So we can safely say it's between 10 to 70k, correct? So now let's look at when I switch to my red weapon. So although you can see my CP drop, right? It doesn't matter. It's all about the damage. So you can see that my normal attack actually increased by roughly 2 times. Just now was around 10k, now is around 20k. Correct? This is normal attack. Let's look at how high the crit can go. Can you see? This is 96. I think 96. Not really sure. Let's continue. We have 60k. You can see, right? 134,160. That is how high the crit can go as compared to the 70k that you see with my blue weapon just now. Okay, so let's look at continue. As you can see, the base attack then output is a lot higher, almost 2 times higher. And then of course you add on to the critical damage, it goes from 5 digit to 6 digit kind of damage output. Okay, so I managed to kill the mob using small pot, not even trying to tank the thing with big pots, and I didn't even use any soul shots. So I'm using a red weapon that has a lower enhancement than my blue weapon, that has a lower level than my blue weapon. I did not limit break at all, but I have max attribute of 10. So with just this minimum requirement, you can see that my red weapon is, you can have a sense of the feel that just by looking at the numbers, the damage output, that my red weapon is, even with like half or even less than half the stats that my blue weapon have, my red weapon can dish out 2 or 3 times more damage than my red weapon can dish out 2 or 3 more times damage than my blue weapon. So if you still don't believe me, I've recorded all the damage down. Took me some time onto an Excel sheet, and I'm going to show you the difference. So my blue weapon, when I'm attacking the mob, it's always 49075, right? It doesn't change because there's no added bonus damage or anything. This is my base, right? Base damage. For my red weapon, I'm at attribute level of 10. So what I did was I took the base damage. You can see my formula right here. I took my base damage, which is 15525. Okay, if you think I'm not cheating, 15525. Yeah, 15525. And I multiplied to 4.25, like I told you. That's the max attribute, the bonus damage on top. So total damage is 4.25 times more. And then this is my actual damage output, right? And I took the liberty to do it for the attribute level 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. So since I'm at 10, I'll be looking at this value. All right. So when I'm attacking this, so it's basically 49,000 compared to 65,000. Right? Even though my red weapon is only level 30 and plus 13 enhanced, while my blue weapon is level 40 plus 30 enhanced. You can just see how much resources I spend on the blue as compared to red. Definitely more on the blue than the red. Correct? But yet my red weapon can dish out more damage than my blue weapon with minimal average requirement. Okay, so let's look at the actual damage itself. I was fighting this monster, which is a magical monster. So for the blue, you can see I crit. My highest crit was 72,000. Correct, that's the one that we saw. Yeah, my highest crit was 72,000. And for my red weapon, my highest crit was I think this is a crit. This is definitely a crit, right? Okay, my highest crit is this one, 145,000. How much more is that? 2 times, right? And then my lowest damage is 10,000, while my for blue weapon, while my red weapon, my lowest damage is 20k, 19, 20k, yeah, around there. So just by comparing these numbers, you can see that every time I hit the magical mob, it's just the damage is just small, right? Right? Needless to say, because my base damage is already higher. So I did an average of because I did 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 based on 5 rounds. I think it's a good enough uh, sample size. So as you can see, is roughly 2 times more. Correct, slightly more than 2 times, slightly more than 2 times. But I think is a very good trade-off, considering the fact that I spend much lesser resources on my red weapon to build my red weapon as compared to my blue weapon. Now, of course, blue weapon is for a different purpose. It's for PvP, for Fortress Siege, for Clan Wars. Is still blue weapon is still very important. At the end of the day, when you fight with other players, arena and all that kind of thing, PvP stuff. But as far as PvE is concerned, red weapon is the most cost-efficient weapon that you should start building now, and this is the change in the farming meta now. You should start building your red weapon. That's the moral of the story. Now, I mean, I just want to see how far I can go with the red weapon, assuming that I continue building my red weapon. Actually, my red weapon is more than enough already. But I think if you want to do higher level mobs, your damage output got to be higher. If not, you will be eating a lot of HP potions. I just wanted to test. Let's say I can get the red weapon to the stage that my blue weapon is now. That means level 40 and max enhance. This is the base damage that is going to be this is the damage, base damage. Of course, the attribute, the 4.25 attribute added onto it. So I'm just taking my blue weapon base damage as reference, as a benchmark, and then I multiply by 4.25. This one is the base damage, right? So so this is the amount of damage that I can dish out. So you can see that if I try to sum it all up, and I sum out this, right, you can see that within one round of 8 hits, I can actually do 4 times more damage, roughly 3 times, 3 to 4 times more damage, which means that I probably can kill the mob 3 to 4 times faster. That means if with the weapon now, I can kill 100 mobs in 15 minutes. If I can make it to level 40 and plus 30 enhance, I can kill 300 to 400 mobs in 15 minutes. So that is really very, very big difference. Anyway, um, you don't have to uh, make a level 40 raid weapon plus 30 enhance. That's not really necessary. Maybe for the very, very late game, but for now, just focus on making it level 30. I mean, you should be doing your hot time and getting a lot of random equipment and this and that. So just throw all your uh, um, B grade and B grade equipments into your raid weapon and make it level 30. Keep upgrading it from S to R to SR and make it level 30. And then at the same time, throw some enhancement scroll onto it. You should be able to reach a plus 10 pretty easily. And then you go on to the plus 11, plus 12 should be pretty easy. You shouldn't be spending too much resources on that. And then with that, uh, you will be able to dish out more damage than your blue weapon, definitely. If your blue weapon is not even level 40 and not even max out enhancement, your attribute your red weapon can even overtake your blue weapon even earlier than expected. So I'm comparing based on my blue weapon as in max out blue weapon. So as you can see, if I got it to an attribute of 6, I'm basically slightly better than my blue weapon already. Correct? So if your blue weapon is not level 40 and plus 30 enhanced, maybe the base damage even lower than mine, your attribute level really don't have to be level 10 to even start using your red weapon, because um, like a plus, I think a plus 8 plus attribute of level 4 is, I think 3 or 4 is minimal. You should be able to get 3 or 4 pretty easily. Just farm some stones in Ivy Lab and just throw all your stones, limit all your attribute stones onto the red weapon. Uh, Best case would be, but don't stop there. I really encourage you to push your attribute level all the way to level 10 because it adds a ton of damage. It's much, much better than and much cost efficient and safer as compared to enhancement. Because once you reach level 30, right, the only way to increase your damage is to enhance or you increase your attribute level. So go for the attribute first. Enhancement, get it to plus 11, plus 12, like I said. Um, Focus on getting the level 10 attribute, which will add a lot of damage. Now, so once you get your red weapon, what can you do with it? A lot. It adds a lot of benefit. It's because there are a lot of mobs that are actually some activities that require you to attack magic monsters. So I've consolidated a couple of them over here. Firstly, your Rift Dungeon, every mob and every boss inside is magical. So if you have seen my teaching video on counters and madness, counters I was using a magic weapon, and madness counters is basically treasure mob, and madness I was using my blue weapon. As you can see, I was struggling. We fail so much time with my blue weapon. Uh, well, of course we are inexperienced, but the damage wasn't that great. With your red weapon, definitely you can clear the Rift Dungeon a lot faster, especially if every party member is using a red weapon. And when you go to a hard mode and a very hard mode, you definitely need your red weapon. If not, you'll be your one round of Rift will take too long, and it will be very tiring. So start building a red weapon, yeah. And for clan dungeon, Kruma itself, the monster, they are all magical. So it will help in your clan dungeon a lot. For M8, I mean, I've shown you, I've posted on the group chat and show you why Alleluia and I and myself, uh, when it comes to Kruma, we are always the top DPS. It's not because of our CP, although our CP make a slight difference, but it's really because we are using red weapon, and our red weapon is actually does actually have a lower enhancement than your blue weapon, and yeah, actually it's not, on paper it's not as good as your blue weapon, but we can dish out more damage because it's red weapon for magical monsters. So there's a added value over there. Now, as far as farming is concerned, elite dungeons, there's a couple of monsters that are magical in the Ivory Tower Laboratory. Level 290 Golem, level 206 Guardian. If you're just starting out, these mobs are really very good to hit, especially when your red weapon is level 30 and a decent level of attribute. You could dish out a lot of damage to these monsters, and sometimes when you do your hot time, you don't even need a full party because you can kill so fast. Maybe 2 or 3 people in the party that have great weapon, and then you all can gain more experience because you all don't have to share the experience with more people. Yeah, so red weapon really helps in farming a lot. And then if you're in forest, you can there's these 3 mobs, forest canopy, which has a level requirement of 180. You can farm these 3 mobs pretty easily. I recommend the last 2 more because they have RSS. So if you're around that level, I guess 210 to 225. If you are from 210 to 225, and you have a decent red weapon, you should be farming these mobs for RSS. And you could do it for your hot time as well. I'm pretty sure the experience is pretty good since you can kill fast enough with a red weapon. Yeah. And then if you go to Forest Understory, this one, I you can kill it pretty. I mean, just now the video that I show you, the boss was actually, yep, right. This boss is actually the mini boss near Pen Defender. Yeah, so Pen Defender are the mobs, and they are all magical mobs as well. The problem with these mobs is it doesn't drop RSS, so that's a very big downside. But the upside is with my red weapon, I tried doing some hot time at 30 minutes hot time at Pen Defender. I could get no this is a real story. I can get 35% in 30 minutes hot time. That's my experience solo. So I could dish out so much damage. Of course I need to tank a little bit. I need to use a red pot, my HP pots. Sometimes I need to switch to big pots because my red pots are not, my normal pots are not are not good enough. And then yeah, I can get 35% in 30 minutes. If you extend 1 more hour, if you extend 30 more minutes, you can get 70%, which is a lot of experience. So that is if you go solo, right? For the last map, I'm not sure yet. I'm not level 260, so just keep in view that. And then there are definitely few monsters that are magical, but I'll not go that into detail because they are all scattered around. So yeah, so as you can see, the purpose of this video is to show you that is to really convince you that with minimal resources spent on your red weapon, you can make it even more powerful than your blue weapon when you are attacking magical monsters. And I can assure you Net Bubble is going to introduce more and more magical monsters to encourage people to build their red weapon. So if you have not started, please start now so that you can really help in your farming and help in your clan dungeon, help your clan when they're doing their chroma run, and especially your reef dungeon. You need that damage for hard mode and especially very hard mode. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned